So, what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to the iPhone 10 versus the iPhone SE. Yes, you heard that right. The reason I'm making this comparison is simple. You go into a store, both these phones are on the shelf, and I don't care. I know a lot of people are going to say, Nick, this comparison doesn't make sense. What the hell are you doing? They're going to leave your little comment, and then you're going to write out of this video, and you're not even going to watch the full thing. I get it, you're trolling. But here's the deal. Some people walk into a store, they don't care about, what the price of these phones are. They can buy either one, but some are still gonna choose this phone over this phone. And some are gonna choose this phone and laugh at this phone. So it really comes down to people's personal preferences when it comes to that regard. Let's talk about the key specifications if you are picking up one of these phones. So the iPhone 10 is leaps and bounds ahead, technically, over the iPhone SE. You have a 5.8-inch OLED display panel, 458 pixels per inch, a dual camera on the rear, 12 megapixel telephoto lens. It does 4K 60. Now on the front of this iPhone 10, you get a 7 megapixel camera that does portrait mode and portrait mode on the rear as well. This does give you an Apple A11 Bionic chipset, 3 gigabytes of RAM, and a 2716 milliamp hour battery. This phone right here is a beast when it comes to its technical specifications. The SE is kind of a beast for being a smaller phone. So the SE is going to give you a 4-inch Retina display right here. This does give you an Apple A9 CPU. You do get 2 gigabytes of RAM, that classic iPhone design for the SE. It's like a 1600 milliamp hour battery. Both do support iOS 11, although they do it very differently. A 4K camera on the rear, Touch ID versus Face ID on this phone. You do get your bezels if you enjoy those. Headphone jack at the bottom, no headphone jack on the iPhone 10. So that's basically what matters when it comes to the specifications here between both of these smartphones. All right, guys, so let's discuss the design, the body, and the build between both these phones. Let me get the iPhone 10 out of its case right here. If you want to know where I got this case at, link is down below in the description. It's a ring key case right here. Found it on sale. Let's get that off to the side for just a second. Stainless steel borders here on this phone, super shiny, but it's going to cost you about $579 to fix the back of this thing if you do crack the rear glass on here. It is Gorilla Glass, so it's very strong. It does have great glass on the front as well. It does feel pretty curvy and premium in the hand, so it's a little bit wide, a little bit short and chunky, but it does have a really tall, long display. So design here on the iPhone 10 is arguably the best iPhone design ever. However, that notch does get in the way from time to time. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. People say it doesn't get in the way. That's BS. Check out this. If I go into reader mode, which I tend to use all the time, look at my text getting cut off right there by the notch. You see the notch cutting off my text right there? Tim Cook right there. You can see cutting off Tim Cook's face right there, or his little words right there. You can see it's just cutting into the text. So don't tell me the notch doesn't get in the way. It does get in the way from time to time. So keep that in mind if you are buying this phone in terms of its design. Now on the iPhone SE, we are looking at the classic iPhone design. I'm not going to discuss this one too long because we already know what this is. It's a little square 4-inch phone that's very easy to one hand. It's classic iPhone design right here. So if you buy one of these, you buy the iPhone 10, you're getting a premium modern design that should look pretty premium for many more years than this phone right here. If you buy this, your phone automatically looks like an older phone. I'm sorry to say it, it's just true. It automatically looks like an older phone here if you buy the iPhone SE, but some people might like that classic iPhone design and they don't want to be having people, looking at them and looking at their phone and stuff like that. This is a good phone for that purpose right there. So practical, functional, little 4-inch phone, modern, premium, luxurious feeling iPhone 10 right here. That's the differences when it comes to design. If you have a bigger hand, this one's going to be easier to hold. If you have a smaller hand, this one's going to be easier to hold. If you got an iPhone 10, it's heavier. You got an iPhone SE, it's probably one of the lightest phones on the market. In terms of thickness, they're about the same. All right, guys, so let's talk about the displays and the display quality specifically. So 5.8-inch OLED panel, 458 pixels per inch. It's a stunner here. It's made by Samsung on the iPhone 10. This thing gets bright enough. It doesn't get as bright as Samsung's own phones, which I'm kind of disappointed with. This feels like about as bright as like an iPhone 8 or an 8 Plus, maybe slightly brighter. Definitely has much punchier colors, but the way Apple tuned this thing was for accuracy, so it definitely looks more natural, more balanced than what we've seen on like Samsung's punchy, saturated phones. And overall, I think most of you are gonna like this phone because it comes with True Tone as well. But the display It's pretty fantastic on the iPhone 10. One of the best you can buy right now when it comes to just its display quality. Now the iPhone SE is pretty a standard affair Retina display. It looks good here on camera, but trust me, in person, this display doesn't even come close to the one on the iPhone 10. When it comes to overall clarity, sharpness, viewing angles, blacks, colors, everything, contrast ratio, the iPhone 10 blows away the iPhone SE in display quality. Now you have to decide though if you're willing to deal with applications that are not quite ready yet for this display. For example, this one right here, you can see you get black bars and it feels like you're using an iPhone 8 on a lot of applications right now. That's even holding true in some games, for example. I don't know if Need for Speed updated their game here. You can even see on Need for Speed, even on games, that's still holding true right now. So the iPhone 10 is not quite as ready as the iPhone SE is for development of applications. So if you have an SE, all your apps should work just fine. They should stretch the screen perfectly. On the iPhone 10, not yet. So overall, that's why I feel about displays on both of these. You got to choose, can you deal with the notch? Do you want those bezels? Do you want the best on the planet? Or can you deal with a standard display? It really comes down to that. I would say if you're buying these based on display, we already know the clear winner here. It's the iPhone 10. Okay guys, let's discuss software. I'm not going to go on too much about this. We know what iOS 11 is. It's the latest software you can get from the Apple camps right here. Now on the iPhone SE, it does work differently in that you do have the control center that comes from the bottom, notifications from the top, and you have your grid of icons here. Very easy, very intuitive, very easy to understand. Home button goes home on this phone right here for iPhone SE. So it's a classic iPhone experience. Pretty much anyone probably knows how to use that. Now on the iPhone 10, you do now bring your control center up to the top right, and you do bring your notifications up to the top. Very Android-like if you ask me. Now where it's not Android-like is the gestures on this phone. So going into calculator to get out of it, instead of a touch button, you go like that to get out of it. Also, you're gonna hold and half press to get into your applications, and that's how you get into your applications here on the iPhone 10. So definitely a very different experience. Siri now works from over here on the side, super different from the Siri on the iPhone SE where you just hold it down and talk to Siri. So those are the differences of the software. If you like gesture-based OS, you're gonna like the iPhone 10. If you like buttons on your phone, get the iPhone SE. It's definitely the better phone for buttons. So I think software, the future of iPhone is here on the 10, the way it's gonna work in the future. But if you're not ready to embrace that yet, you might wanna take a look at other iPhones that do not have this display. Okay guys, so in terms of performance, you have an A9 CPU over there on the iPhone SE. You do have an A11 Bionic chip on the iPhone 10. Let's just quickly run through some applications and see how they perform. You can see the iPhone 10 was ahead there. Let's go into the clock. You can see the iPhone 10 was ahead, and it's gonna be ahead in most regards. It's a faster phone with a faster chip, but you can see that SE and day-to-day performance keeps up just fine in day-to-day applications. Now, when it comes to gaming and video rendering, it's not gonna keep up at all with the A11, and software going forward, the SE will start to slow down in comparison to the iPhone 10. So you can see right here, day-to-day stuff, pretty similar, but definitely winning on every one for the 10. The SE won there on Snapchat, surprisingly. Going into YouTube, you can see SE wins that one on YouTube. Going into Amazon, you can see iPhone 10 wins that one on Amazon, laps it. And I'm gonna do a full-on comparison between these. I didn't wanna make this video for that, but you can see kind of how the day-to-day performance does right there. Geekbench scores on the iPhone 10 will just crush the iPhone SE though. Okay guys, so picking up these phones, getting the iPhone 10 in terms of storage, you start with 64 gig at $1,000. You go up to $1,149 for the 256 gig, which is the one I would recommend if you are gonna pay this much money. Just get the 256 gig. The iPhone SE, you can find this cheap at like Walmart and stores right now. It's like 130 bucks. You can get it at Best Buy for around the same price, but that's only a 32 gig. The real SE you want if you're getting an SE is the 128 gigabyte model, which gives you like 4 times the storage and a much better capacity. So SE about 128 gigabytes is the one I would recommend if you are picking this thing up right here. So storage capacities, I think the SE offers a better value with storage to price ratio. Okay guys, so I don't think these are the best phones, either one of them for gaming. That would be the Razer phone, but gaming on these phones right here is going to be about the same when it comes to performance. It's not going to be that much different on the iPhone 10. However, the iPhone 10 should be a little bit smoother and faster going forward because as an Apple built GPU versus the SE's Power VR graphics. However, the SE feels like a little portable PlayStation or something. It's really small and it runs games pretty phenomenally. However, I did find that the iPhone 10, so for some reason, the processor has been getting the phone a little bit warmer than this phone right here. So the iPhone 10 running a little warm right now. That may change over time, but gaming overall about the same in terms of speed and performance. But the iPhone 10 is going to support more AR applications, more AR gaming, stuff like that. So I have to give the easy win to gaming to the iPhone 10. Okay, guys, so discussing battery life between both of these, the iPhone 10 and the iPhone SE, the iPhone 10 actually has been pretty okay. It gets me through a full day. It's not extremely great battery life like I see on the 8 Plus, but I don't like that you can't see the battery percentage anymore. You have to pull it down from there. That's an extra step where you can just take a glance at the SE or any other iPhone without that, edge-to-edge panel. And you can see right there, 72%. Which one actually does better in the real world? So far, I've been seeing the SE to do better than the iPhone 10, but I am gonna have to run more intensive tests, an all-day battery test. You might wanna subscribe to see that all-day battery test of the iPhone 10 here. Overall though, battery looking pretty consistent on both. This one I'm calling a draw as of now. Stay tuned to hear more about the battery life. Okay guys, so in terms of calling between both of these phones, the iPhone 10 just blows the SE away in this regard due to it's just a louder phone when it comes to speakerphone. It also sounds better through the earpiece. The SE feels kind of tinny when it comes to how people sound. Also, the speaker is very low. It sounds okay when you're talking through your headphones and stuff like that, but the iPhone 10 is a better phone for phone calling. Also, it's a better phone for audio experience as well when it comes to just listening to, audio out the speakers on the bottom and the front. There is dual speakers here on the front of the iPhone 10. So it's a better audio experience and calling experience and speakerphone experience. So pick this phone if you want the best of that regard. All right, guys. So final conclusion, final verdict here, iPhone 10 versus iPhone SE. What is the deal here? You walk into the store, you see both of these on the shelf, you're in there, you're like, I don't care, price is no factor, I just want an iPhone, I don't care. The iPhone 10 crushes the iPhone SE right here. Technically speaking, it's a monster over this phone. It has a much better display, much better contrast ratio, a more durable design in that it has stainless steel on the phone versus aluminum, which scratches much easier. And this also stains very easily, this aluminum on the SE, specifically the space gray model and I think the gold model. If you get the silver model, you probably won't have that issue quite as much. The iPhone 10 offers much better cameras on the rear. Also offers a much better front-facing camera, a much faster processor, and it's going to support iOS much longer. So you're paying about 80% more money, but you're going to have this phone doing about 80% of what the iPhone SE can do. So it does, kind of match its price point for what it offers. I still think this is about an $850 phone, but Apple's charging that Apple tax. We know how they do around there. The iPhone SE, though, is still a great phone. For those of you who want to enter the iPhone market and you don't want to pay a lot of money for it, you're still going to use one of the best operating systems on planet Earth right now for not a whole lot of money, depending on where you get this phone. However, I know some of you are watching this video. You have no intentions of upgrading to the SE, to the iPhone 10. Stick around. The iPhone SE 2 should be coming, but that's not going to launch at a cheap price. That should launch at around $500, $600. So the SE2 is not going to launch at bargain basement prices like you can get it at right now. So overall, that's my final verdict. iPhone 10 crushes the SE at the end of the day, but these phones are for very different consumers, and some people are still going to love their classic small iPhone, and some people are going to still love this new beautiful display, this new beautiful design, even though it has a notch. If you found this video helpful, enjoyable, entertaining, informing, do me a favor, go ahead and click that like button for me down below. Any video suggestions, questions, feedback, concerns, leave those down below. The community will help you out, talk with you. I will try my best to get back at you. And one last thing, if you haven't visited the nickackermanchannel.com website, I just launched it. You could reach out to me there. I will be launching t-shirts soon as well. So I will catch you on the next one. Nick here helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well and peace.